Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Now, I got a couple other videos that I do plan on releasing through the end of the month. One thing that I was going to make an announcement video for, but then things going on. I do want to say that for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which will be debuting on Disney Plus next Friday, which I'm so excited for. I know usually when it comes to shows, I kind of veered away from the whole doing episode by episode thing, mostly just because with things going on, I couldn't really keep up. But because the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I am just too excited for and so hyped up for that specific show, I will be reviewing episode by episode because I feel like there's going to be a lot to talk about within that show. And I think it's necessary. And it's only going to be 6 episodes. And when it does debut on Disney Plus, we're getting a 2-episode premiere. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to combine episodes 1 and 2 into one video or if I'm going to do it separate. I have no idea. I'll figure it out as I go. But that's what I'm doing with that. But for today's video, we're going to be talking about a film that I was actually supposed to see last year. I had my ticket. I was ready to see it. But work just got so crazy. I was so tired that I got a refund for my ticket and I just stayed home just because a lot going on with work. I was tired, so I didn't see it. And the movie that I'm talking about is an anime film called Belle. And this movie, the only reason why I went to see this movie was because I was, believe it or not, on YouTube. And there was an ad for it. They showed the full trailer for the movie. And visually, it looked absolutely beautiful. The music really hooked me. The soundtrack for this movie is absolutely amazing. That's one of the big selling points for this movie, is the soundtrack. And it has a really good story. So I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. So I kind of kept up with it. It came out at the beginning of December of 2021. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it. So I had to just kind of wait because it was only in theaters for a limited time. But then it came out on Blu-ray on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, and it was available to rent on Amazon, iTunes, and whatnot. So I rented it off iTunes for a few bucks because I wanted to see if I'd enjoy it. And I enjoyed it so much that I went out and I got the Blu-ray. Well, I actually got this at Target. It's a special steel case for the movie. And I do like the original poster for the movie. I love the colors and everything. I think it's a really great design that totally captures you in for this movie. But when I saw that Target had a special steelbook for it, I was like, you know what? I gotta go with the steelbook. It's not every day where I get an anime steelbook. So yeah, the steelbook for the film Belle. So yeah, I finally watched it a few days ago, and now I want to review it. And for the most part, I really did enjoy this movie. You know, when I was with my friends, I watched a lot of Miyazaki and Studio. I think it's Ghibli films. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But we watched a lot of Miyazaki films, and I did really enjoy those. I'm not usually one for like the slow story that usually revolves around like characters going through certain things and like their lives and whatnot. It's not usually my style, you know, depending on what the story is. But since I started watching more anime, I got really intrigued about watching them. So I actually loved a lot of those films. And Belle was definitely one of those films that caught my attention due to its story, but also its music. And I ended up really enjoying this. There are a couple negatives. I'm going to start with my negatives first because this movie is not perfect. There are some negatives that I do want to address. One thing, and this is kind of like a me thing, so you guys can judge me in the comments. So the movie the characters in the movie, their lips are moving to the Japanese dialogue. It is an English dub, but the characters' mouths are moving to the Japanese audio. So that was a little bit weird because when some characters are trying to express themselves, sometimes the audio from what they're doing doesn't really fit. Especially when, I noticed this because in the intro of the movie, when the first song is playing, you know, the characters' mouths moving and it just doesn't fit. So that was a little bit of a negative for me. Another thing too is this film likes to emphasize the awkward silence between characters, and I feel like the awkward silence just lasts a little too long. Like there were moments as I was watching it where I actually thought that either my PlayStation 4 froze because I was watching this on Apple TV, and I thought something was wrong. But no, the scene lingers on some of these characters when they're making a stunned expression like this. And it lasts for almost more than 10 seconds. So I was like, okay, I feel like they kind of did that to extend the runtime because the movie's not long. I think the movie's only 2 hours or 2 hours and a minute. But I feel like you could have chopped those things down a little bit. And I get it. These are characters going through, real life situations, characters that are possibly in love or have a crush on somebody and they don't know how to talk to them. It's funny, but just the awkward silence, just meh. And, yeah, and then I feel like there are some times where the animation just looks a little bit cheap. Might be because of the budget, but for the most part, it's a beautiful movie. Absolutely beautiful movie. But there are just a couple bits and moments where I'm just I kind of felt like I was watching an early 90s cartoon or anime or something like that. But it's not really shown heavily throughout. It's little bits and pieces, but never bothered me personally. So that's pretty much it for the dislikes. The movie has a great set of characters. I loved all these characters. The main character who, when she's in the virtual world, Belle, she's great, but the actual human character, her name is Zuzu, and she's great. She's so adorable, but she has a really interesting story, and I don't want to go too much into the story because of spoilers, but for a general idea of what the story is that she can't really sing in the human world. So when she's in this virtual world enhances your greatest ability or trait. So for her, it was singing. So now she can sing again. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. And then she just becomes this big phenomenon with how great her singing is in this world. And there's more to the story than just that, but I don't want to get into spoilers. I do know a lot of people, when they were thinking and talking about this movie, they mentioned that it heavily is influenced by Beauty and the Beast. And that is true, but this is not a Beauty and the Beast story. This is something entirely different. So don't go into this movie thinking you're getting your generic Beauty and the Beast story, because that's not it. It's something completely different. It caught me off by surprise, and that's another reason why this movie was great, is the surprises of where the story goes, especially towards the ending. I was shocked. I was absolutely stunned. But overall, it was just a really great time. I wish that there was maybe a little more action or more, I don't know how to describe it, but in the beginning of the movie, we're kind of jumping between different points in time with the character. I'm not really going to call this a negative just because it does move kind of quick, but I feel like we should have had a little bit more of a build-up instead of just chopping and going from the fall to the winter, and then all of a sudden we're in summer. So, but I'm not really going to criticize it on that. But this is definitely worth a watch. I think that if you guys are at all interested, you can rent it off of Amazon or Apple TV, because this was really good. Not perfect, has a little bit of flaws, but I still think it's great nonetheless, and that's why I got it. And I really do love the design of this steel case, but I wish that the steel case was the look of the actual original poster for the movie, because I really do like that. And for those wondering, it's just look at the thumbnail. The thumbnail I'm going to have for it is going to be the original poster for the film. But I am going to give Belle a B+. Worth a watch. Rent it if you can. If you're looking to build up your collection in terms of anime films, this is a keeper. Has a little bit of flaws, but I don't think that it takes the movie down at all. Really great time. And speaking of animes, I'm going to have probably, maybe even tomorrow if I really decide to, I have another anime review that I do want to talk about. I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I just don't know how I'm going to talk about it. But I think it's time to talk about it because this one caught me off by surprise. Here's a little hint. It did just debut this year, and it became very popular very quick, and it was one of the funniest animes I've ever seen in my life, but we'll talk about that next time. And then, yes, for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I will be tackling that episode by episode because I feel like there's going to be a lot to talk about, and I know I'm going to want to talk about it because I'm super excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you get a chance to go see Belle, let me know what you think in the comments below because this was a really good time. I really enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time.